This week at the movies, can the winning streak of 3D blockbusters continue at the box office?
Liam Neeson and Sam Worthington star in Clash of the Titans.
If I do this, I do it as a man.
But you are not just a man.
Also coming up this week,
You want to talk? Yeah. Let's talk.
from the writer of The Notebook, Dear John, and Nights in Rodanthe, I'm choking up already, it's Miley Cyrus in The Last Song.
It should have been her that died that night. It should have been her.
Pierce Brosnan, Susan Sarandon, and the brilliant young star of An Education, Carey Mulligan, come together after a tragedy in The Greatest.
Plus, they're not necessarily movie stars, but sometimes their performances can save a movie. We'll talk about some of our favorite unsung supporting actors.
I'll lure her out. Get ready.
It's all gods and monsters all the time with Clash of the Titans. I'm A.O. Scott of the New York Times.
And I'm Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune.
It's an old story. The gods are angry. And it's not exactly a new movie. Clash of the Titans is an update retrofitted for 3D after the fact and in the wake of Avatar of a bombastically cheesy, hugely entertaining 1981 picture of the same name. This one stars Avatar's own Sam Worthington as Perseus, a son of Zeus with some daddy issues. Zeus is Liam Neeson, and Hades, his brother, is Voldemort himself, Ralph Fiennes.
It is time for the mortals to pay. My child waits to do your will. Release the Kraken!
Release the Kraken, indeed. Frankly, that monster, once it showed up, didn't do much for me, and neither did the pedestrian 3D. But I found myself enjoying quite a bit more of this earnest, muscular epic than I expected to. There's this sexy little training scene, for example, where Perseus gets some Medusa-slaying tips from the demigoddess Io, played by Gemma Arterton.
Do you think she'll hand you her head? She won't be gracious about it. One look in her eyes and you're turned to stone. Good.
Try not to enjoy this so much.
And I have to say, I loved some of the special effects, in particular, a bunch of giant scorpions. These monsters honored the legacy of pre-digital special effects pioneer Ray Harryhausen, who animated the critters in the original. For me, this Clash had just the right blend of grandiosity and silliness. It's a little campy, a little creepy, a little too long, and sometimes a bit of a mess. But it all adds up to a welcome dose of old-fashioned B-movie entertainment. So see it by Zeus.
It doesn't add up at all. You're mounting, I say skip it, and you're mounting a defense of a purely impersonal mediocrity.
Defy the will of the gods.
No, it's you're defying quality with this recommendation. You're talking about a film where the action sequences just come at this sort of tumble, which is typical of an early 21st century action film that doesn't really segment anything into meaningful sequences and builds, and
I don't agree.
You do not get a film to remember here.
I think it's a throwback to a pre-digital era. I agree with you about some of the bigger CGI effects, but I think that those scorpions and the strange, djinn characters who are with them, some of the mask work and costume work, some of the desert landscapes, it does have a kind of cheap, cheesy, but also I found very appealing, a very warm
You're
look.
mounting like my defense of 10,000 BC. You're mounting it for the wrong picture, I think. But look, take a look at this action sequence, okay? Where the camera is, what the actors are doing in relation to the camera, and you tell me if this scene would look any better in 3D. I think the answer is no.
Well, this movie didn't need to be in 3D, and it wasn't originally meant to be in 3D.
No, it was not.
So it's a bit of a red herring there. But what I think is in that scene that is wonderful is Mads Mikkelsen, the amazing Danish character actor who has not cracked a smile in his entire career,
correct.
and who's terrific. And there's a lot of good, campy, chewy acting.
Fine.
in this movie.
When the history of 3D is told, and people start looking at the films where the audience just felt like, this looks like a cheap knockoff. This is one of the.
Oh, this one's fun.
Is one of them.
More fun than you give it credit for.
Your gods must be crazy. Okay, next movie. In An Education, Carey Mulligan gave my favorite female performance of 2009, and she's back on screen in The Greatest, playing a high school graduate who loses her virginity to a classmate played by Aaron Johnson. That's in scene 1, which is followed by the boy telling the girl, Rose, that he loves her at the exact moment their car is slammed by a truck, leaving the boy dead. The film then becomes a story of the grieving process experienced by the mother, Susan Sarandon, and the stoic father, played by Pierce Brosnan. Here, Rose delivers some surprising news.
I've been trying to figure out how you knew Bennett. Are you part of Houston government?
No.
Community service? Just tell me if I'm hot or cold.
Cold.
I don't think he held on to many of his friends from his junior high.
No. I'm the one he got pregnant.
Writer-director Shauna Fest has a sincere interest in families in crisis in the therapeutic vein of Ordinary People. Here, though, it's the script that's ordinary. Watch, though, how Mulligan handles this flashback where the two teenagers first speak to each other.
Now, please don't go. It's taken me like a year to get the courage to talk to you. Please don't go.
He waited till 3:15 on the last day of school.
Right. Yeah, I never said I had good timing.
Any good actor's career involves a certain amount of toning up of questionable material, adding dimensions where they're barely suggested on the page. That's what Mulligan is doing here, and for her work alone, I say rent it. It's a rent it.
I agree, rent it, and I agree with you that the material is let's say, a bit soft, and
soapy too.
You do feel like you're being kind of pushed around and manipulated by the story. But I think Mulligan is good. I also think that Sarandon and Brosnan are quite good, and I think that the performances and also a kind of relaxed style of direction kind of make this watchable.
Watchable is the word, I think. I disagree with you on Brosnan, though. There's something about Brosnan that in this picture, he's kind of reverted back to kind of just a lot of posing and sort of a stilted, unemotional quality that it has nothing to do with an unemotional character, but an actor who's just sort of like hitting his marks a little too studiously. Mulligan, none of that. It is completely free-flowing.
Really, because I thought that the scenes of the two of them together, because they connect. You know, the mother, played by Susan Sarandon, really resists this girl and is kind of angry at her and the intrusion that she represents into the mother's private world of grief. But the connection that develops between the father and the girl, I thought was some of the best, most delicate and sensitive stuff in the movie.
I didn't believe it in the writing at all. So I think what we're agreeing on, though, is that the actors do everything they can to kind of bring it up.
And actors can do that.
Yes, they can.
Coming up next, from Hannah Montana to melodrama, Miley Cyrus gets serious in The Last Song.
And later in the show, you may not remember their names, but you can't forget their faces. A look at some of the great character actors of our time.
I am not ready to be a pop-pop.
So the word is you're from New York. So what are you doing down here?
My mom shipped me and my brother to my dad's for the summer.
We'd better maintain visual contact.
Next up is The Last Song, starring teen pop sensation and Disney Channel superstar Miley Cyrus. It's directed by Julie Ann Robinson and written by Nicholas Sparks, author of Dear John, The Notebook, and Nights in Rodanthe. So right off the bat, you know a few things for sure. Someone's going to fall in love, someone is going to die, and everyone else is going to sniffle and sob. Cyrus plays Ronnie, a piano prodigy who has given up on her dreams after her parents' divorce. Here, mom and dad, Kelly Preston and Greg Kinnear, discuss their daughter's troubles.
Is she still not playing?
Not since the day you left.
How is she otherwise?
Well, let's see. Grades were in the toilet. It's a miracle she graduated from high school, and she doesn't have one friend without a pierced something.
Spending the summer with Dad on the Georgia coast, Ronnie saves some baby sea turtles, makes some dubious friends, teases her little brother, and falls into a romance with Will, a hunky beach volleyball player, and so much more, played by Liam Hemsworth. He shows her his modest little home.
You're rich? Will, you told me that your dad owned a brake shop.
He does. He just happens to own 300 more just like...
No, I'm not going here.
Yes, you
Not
are.
looking like this. What if somebody sees me?
And she shows him her musical talents.
There's something that you don't know about me.
Can Ronnie really play the piano? Maybe. Can Miley Cyrus really act? How can I put this gently? No. She pouts, slouches, and mopes her way through a tediously overstuffed story that sinks down into the boggy middle ground between melodrama and soap opera. I apologize to all the Hannah Montana fans out there, including my own daughter, but you can skip this one.
I say skip it too. I think Nicholas Sparks is the kind of novelist that does not where well if we're going to get a film version of his books every 6 or 8 weeks, like we have been. Dear John was the last one. A film you like better than this. I don't understand that, because I find, even though I have to say skip it, this film is slightly more tolerable just because it's a little smaller and less grandiose than Dear John.
I think this one is quite grandiose. On the contrary, I think this one is overstuffed with so much plot and incident and so many kind of emotionally wrenching moments and things. You have, you know, one character with a dead brother, another character with a terminal illness, a church fire
yes.
Arson, an abusive relationship with the main character's best friend, the brother, the divorced parents. It's all just kind of overloaded and overloaded.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Dear John, on the other hand, was a little simpler and had two things going for it over this one. Two very important things. Amanda Seyfried in the main role, who's just much better than Miley Cyrus at carrying this kind of big overwrought emotion. And also Lasse Hallström, the director, who gave Dear John a little more shape and a little more
I disagree with on that
cogency.
one, because that's just a different kind of like phony sentimentality going on behind the camera in Dear John. But I think the one thing that almost got through some of the corn in this picture is Greg Kinnear as the father, because he is a consistently honest and sort of clean and really effective actor.
I have to say, though, his performance here mostly consists of not shaving and not wearing socks.
You do Kinnear a disservice, but the film, no good. Coming up next, Edward Norton co-stars with Edward Norton as identical twins in the bizarre new comedy Leaves of Grass.
Next week, Steve Carell and Tina Fey find danger and excitement in Date Night.
We are going to die!
Plus, is she dead or alive? Christina Ricci, Liam Neeson star in Afterlife. Next week at the movies.
Brady? What the hell is going on?
I guess I kind of got resurrected.
What? You had him tell me you were dead?
Well, all right, I'm sorry about that, but there weren't no other way for me to get you to come down here.
Playing identical twins, a city slicker and a country cousin, say, well, worked for Shakespeare, is a challenge for any actor, and a challenge any actor would enjoy. Edward Norton is clearly having fun doing that very thing in the new comedy Leaves of Grass. The movie's about a buttoned-down professor of Greek philosophy who fled his hometown in Oklahoma for greener Ivy League pastures, but he's pulled back home by his marijuana-growing brother, also played by Norton, who has a harebrained scheme to get his brother to switch places with him while he takes care of his problems, which involve bad men with guns in Tulsa.
If I don't get up to Tulsa, I'm gonna be in some real trouble. I need you to be me, just like we used to back at home.
We don't even look alike anymore. Has that occurred to you?
What do you think?
You've given yourself the stupidest haircut in human history.
The city boy's reluctant, but there are compensations, chiefly one played by Kerry Russell.
You're some world-famous thinker.
Or hardly.
Some minorly famous thinker. And you don't let your mother enjoy that?
That's correct.
It's not good to have unresolved problems with your mother.
So, okay, nice scene there. Then Leaves of Grass turns incredibly violent, and when the drug dealers start splattering each other's brains on the wall, you think, did I fast forward to writer-director Tim Blake Nelson's next movie by mistake? Now, Nelson's best known as a character actor, and a darn good one, too. He's shown in the Coen brothers' Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, for one. Here, though, you could get whiplash from his movies, mood swings. I say skip it. Tony,
I say
mess.
I say skip it, too. I mean, even though Nelson is in this and, as usual, is wonderful in a supporting part, and Norton, you know, has some fun and does some interesting things playing these two very different guys, this sort of buttoned-up professorial guy and the kind of the wild kind of mountain man drug dealer dude who's his brother. But the problem is I was with this movie for about 20 or 30 minutes, and I thought it was going to be something like that movie Junebug, about a guy who's abandoned his roots, who's kind of sucked back into them, and it was going to be a quirky, charming comedy.
Yes.
And then it just goes so far off the rails and turns into this bloodbath.
It's like Junebug meets Pulp Fiction or something.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not the violence itself that bothers me, but just that it just completely destroys the tone
I
of the
had a
movie.
similar issue with a better film, The Pineapple Express, which you know, kind of set the audience up for one sort of comedy and then became very violent, although it didn't turn audiences off.
Then you have people getting their heads blown off and being here like, you know, penetrated by crossbows.
Yeah, it cannot be pulled off by Blake Nelson.
It's too bad, because he's a talented guy. Coming up next, speaking of character actors, you know their faces, you love their work, and we're going to look at these unsung actors who can make even bad movies worth watching.
Something's got to be going on.
How much did they first pay you to give up on your dreams?
27 grand a year.
And when were you going to stop and come back and do what makes you happy?
Good question.
That was J.K. Simmons in a very memorable scene from Up in the Air. He's one of those actors who make good movies better and can even make bad movies watchable. You know the kind. You might not remember their names, but you're always glad to see them on screen. Character actors give so many movies, well, character. We thought we'd take a little bit of time to celebrate some of our favorites.
This is the Peter Lorre Memorial segment.
And I think J.K. Simmons, who we saw there, is certainly one of the best around.
Oh, it's fantastic. He has 5, maybe 6 minutes on screen in Up in the Air, and they are the truest 5 or 6 minutes in that entire picture. When you saw someone like Simmons in the Spider-Man franchise as that blowhard Jonah Jameson, you know, a whole different kind of style. But then when a character actor who's been working the way that actor Simmons has for years and years gets a juicy role like the father in Juno, he is so completely prepared to maximize everything that role has to offer, and he just shines. And that's what you love about following these people through the years and years of their screen careers.
Well, and they bring, I mean, I think he's someone who brings kind of an element of realness to some of his best roles.
I think similar to Amy Ryan.
Yeah,
right? Amy Ryan has a very similar kind of appeal and approach. I think she's, you know, it's not every character actor in Hollywood who can actually plausibly deal with a working class character.
Yeah, the way she did in Gone Baby Gone.
Gone Baby Gone, probably her best performance, Oscar nominated, in fact.
And there's a lack of vanity there too. This is not someone sort of coming and saying, "Look at me act." She's doing in Green Zone, for example, a movie that I like quite a bit more than you do. She plays this journalist in Iraq, and she does not, you know, she just kind of shows up in the movie, does the job with this kind of focus and conviction that really leaves you with something, with some sense of this character's ethical dilemma and what she's going through.
These actors can grandstand with the best of them, but when the role demands it, they don't. It's a different sort of vibe you get off an actor like Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's a wonderful actor, born in England, and you know, best known lately, I think, to worldwide audiences for Saving the World in 2012, because he plays the scientist, or what is he, a geologist, or you know, basically just the guy,
something like
that guy with that fabulous voice who saves the world. But you know, he's an actor who, you know, through this massive piece of cheese, can kind of give it the gravitas and the urgency that really only a good character actor can kind of come up with.
Well, and also a little bit of flair. I think that you know, it's not always about sort of being realistic and burying yourself deep in the character, but showing the sort of the pleasure of playing the role. I'm thinking of an actor who's great at this, who's almost a little hammy in the best way, Tom Wilkinson, the British actor. Most recently, in just a couple of scenes in Roman Polanski's The Ghostwriter, playing this sort of pompous professor who may, you know, have some other secrets. And he's just sort of basically moving the plot along and, you know, playing what could be a cipher, but he does it with such relish and wit,
and understatement too. And I think you could say the same about Patricia Clarkson. You know, like a lot of these folks, stage-trained performer. You know, in Shutter Island, which, you know, I didn't love, didn't even like much. You know, she gives kind of a 5-minute, you know, one-woman show in the middle of it that almost makes the movie.
Yeah, well, she's sort of the crazy lady in the cave, and there's, you know, Leo DiCaprio shows up wondering what's going on. And again, she's not saying anything that is necessarily, you know, meaningful or great or profound, but you just watch her and you think, wow, she's really
But we
doing
love
something.
these people. We love these people, and we're going to have.
There's so many more.
Yes, and we'll deal with some of these folks. We'll discuss more of our favorite character actors on our website. Plus, you can join in the discussion and tell us some of your favorites. Just click on atthemoviestv.com.
Can't decide what to see in theaters? Stay tuned for my 3 to See.
It's called male bonding, okay? Haven't you even seen Wild Hogs?
Closed captioning for At the Movies is sponsored by
Italiano made with delicious meats and melted cheeses on bakery fresh tasting bread that crisps in the microwave in minutes. The taste of your favorite sub shop without leaving home. New Stouffer's Toasted Subs.
Hotel provided by Park Hyatt Chicago, Chicago's award-winning hotel and luxury dining experience, located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile on Water Tower Square.
A Vengeful Mother, Some Angry Gods, and 4 Men in a Tub. Something for everyone in my 3 to See this week. At number 3 in 3D is Clash of the Titans, a remake of a cheesy old epic that isn't too slick for its own good. It's a campy, action-packed, and generally enjoyable romp through the world of Greek mythology. At number 2, I have the Korean film Mother, a strange and startling blend of melodrama and murder mystery from director Bong Joon-ho. And at number 1, the epic tale of a generation's struggle to find meaning in the modern world. Hot Tub Time Machine. Jump in. The 80s are fine.
Tony, after Sam Worthington's first-class flying scenes in Avatar, I got to say, the Clash of the Titans scenes, strictly coach. I don't get that recommendation, but life's funny.
All right, but Hot Tub Time Machine?
All the way with the dog.
Okay, that's the important one.
That's it for now. We'll leave you with a recap of this week's show. And now you can join the discussion by following us on Twitter and on Facebook. Just go to atthemoviestv.com to find out how.
And join us next week for reviews of Date Night, starring Steve Carell and Tina Fey. And until then, we'll be at the movies.
And leave your scar behind. Mederma,